It is the activities that push them to have uncomfortable conversations with people. They feel like, oh, I'm so busy, I'm making so much progress. And they are the activities that are actually keeping you broke. There's only like four things in the $10,000 task bucket.
Welcome to CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Mabra. This is your one-stop shop to learn the business side of your practice on a deeper level. On this show, we empower you to own your CEO status to scale your practice for growth, sustainability, and profit. Listen in as we talk about how to market your practice to gain more visibility, hire, build, and engage your ride or die dream team, create streamlined operations, and make financial decisions as a CEO. It's time to show up as a confident leader to create a practice and life you love. Let's get started.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. Today's conversation is juicy. We're talking about 10 $10,000 tasks. I love $10,000 tasks because when you actually step into doing $10,000 tasks, they can feel amazing and lovely, but in the beginning, they're a little challenging. However, they are exactly what you need to do in order to move your practice forward. So when we're thinking about $10,000 tasks, we're talking about sweat equity. And one of the things that I find with the clients that we work with when we are trying to get them to do $10,000 task, it is the hardest thing because it's the activities that make them feel the most uncomfortable. It is the activities that push them to have uncomfortable conversations with people. It is the activities that push them to have more visibility when it comes to their brand and their practice. And if they are not naturally good at it, because there are some clients where they just, oh yeah, I'll talk to this person, this person, this person. I got this event and this event, this event, like all the things, and they'll do amazing. So, what exactly is a $10,000 task? So let me back up a minute. Actually, let's talk about four buckets. So there are four buckets when it comes to how you show up in your practice working on certain business activities. When you are at the beginning stages, you are doing all of the things. So there are some $10,000 tasks that you're working on, some $10 tasks that you're working on, some $100 tasks that you're working on. There are some folks, even if you break it down, you could actually even add a fifth bucket and it would be $5 tasks that you could work on. So imagine, especially if you have goals and aspirations of building a higher level of revenue practice, and you're filling your days with working on $5 and $10 tasks. These $5 and $10 tasks feel very productive. They feel like, oh, I'm so busy, I'm making so much progress. And they are the activities that are actually keeping you broke. So, just for clarification, the four buckets are $10 tasks, $100 task, $1,000 task, and $10,000 task. And if we really want to get really deep with it, we can even do a sixth bucket or a fifth bucket, sorry, of $5 tasks. So either way, your $5 task and your $10 task are the activities that will burn you out. When we're talking about hiring, these are the activities that you need to hire for. So, regardless of your stage of business growth, regardless of your stance on the world, whether you want to build a practice with W-2s, or maybe you want to build a practice with 1099s, or maybe you want to just be in that solopreneur space, doesn't matter. You will fill your days. You can fill your days with $10,000 tasks or $5 and $10 tasks. The $5 and $10 tasks are lower level tasks. So, this is usually things of scheduling appointments, patient follow up, maybe creating an invoice, doing like all the administrative tasks that don't really generate money. They're important. All of these tasks are important when it comes to the business, but they just fill your day. And then you look up and you're like, well, I'm not making the money that I want it to make. And in some cases, especially as the practice continues to grow, even seeing patients can actually turn into lower levels of revenue or dollar amounts when it comes to sweat equity if you allow it to. So let's talk through this a little bit more. So we talked about like the $5 and $10 tasks, very administratively based. You have your $100 task, which is a higher level. So this would be maybe creating like an email newsletter or writing a blog or actually doing a graphic, that you're going to post on social media. Those things are higher level because they actually carry more of a expertise. If you're not a graphic designer, yes, there's Canva, but that's more something that carries more sweat equity. It's harder than maybe scheduling in a patient. And so that's something that would be in the $100 bucket. $1,000 buckets are like your strategic planning, making sure that you're sitting down and thinking time. Like all of those things are $1,000 tasks, which is more on in alignment with what should be on a CEO's plate. Your $10,000 tasks, like I was saying, are the tasks that will push you as an entrepreneur. And in some cases, and with some folks, will drive you to be like, you know what? It ain't worth it. I just want to be behind the scenes. I like being in my office. I like seeing patients. I like being behind the computer. I like being at my desk. Because when we're thinking about what a true CEO does, when you're working on these tasks, there's only like four things in the $10,000 task bucket. There's a private practice scorecard, private practice CEO scorecard that we give all of our clients. And when you're looking at like the $5, $10, $100 tasks, so many things, like, it's like a full column, of just activities of that folks can do, and when you start to move over to the $1,000 tasks, there's maybe like 5, 6, things that someone can do. When we get over to the $10,000 task, 4, maybe 5, and that's honestly because from a healthcare perspective, there's a couple of different things that we could do. So with $10,000 tasks, these are when you're having conversations about partnerships, when you are being strategic about the referral network that you're being, when you are hosting like a training or a workshop or a webinar, when you are showing up and doing like being the face of the brand or the face of the practice, all of those things are $10,000 tasks. They all require a mindset shift for you to actually want to go out and network or to meet people or to speak on a stage or to host a workshop or to have an idea or to pitch yourself for a media. Some folks, it's like, I don't know about that. I don't know if I can do it. And a lot of times people can get very tired too to be the face, but it's one of the things that will actually move your practice forward, and if you're more strategic about it, it can lead to more patients and clients coming into the door and allowing for your schedules to be filled because you've been able to create enough visibility, you've been able to have enough conversations, you've been able to tap into the $1,000 task to be strategic, and now you're putting yourself in a place of putting of like, "Let's do this partnership." That's how you're able to get in, the multiple thousands and even millions of dollars into your practice. But it's a harder ask. That's why it's a $10,000 task and that's why the sweat equity. When we're thinking about the $10,000 task too, a lot of times people think, "Oh, well, I see patients every day. So I generate revenue whether you see one patient or three patients in an hour." What I find is when people get into financial hardship or they get into financial trouble and they like their quickest thing that they think that they need to do is let me see more patients. And sometimes what happens is you're actually not generating the amount of revenue that you can generate compared to if you were to jump on a stage or if you're part of a panel or if you would actually have a conversation for a joint venture. You can generate more revenue that way than spending your days seeing patients. And honestly, like if you were to talk to a group of 100 patients, that is just your target audience, compared to seeing three people in an hour in clinic, you would lose money if you chose to see the three people in clinic. It feels like you're going to make more money compared to putting yourself in that same hour talking to 100 patients who all need your services inside of your practice. When we're thinking about like lifetime value when it comes to clients and different things, then that return on investment is priceless, right? Because you have patients who are going to schedule appointments, new visits, consultations, and then patients who are going to stick with the practice over and over and over and over for years and years and years, which is why these are $10,000 tasks. When we're thinking about some of the marketing part of it, I'm not going to get into the marketing cycle. That's actually going to be another episode. But when we're thinking about the marketing cycle, these conversations and these $10,000 tasks are so important because it allows for you to truly put the practice in a place to make the most impact, to help the most people, to be the most profitable, to make sure that it's just set up for success holistically, to help with hiring, when you focus on $10,000 task, it allows for the brand to be enhanced. And so it's more of it creates a more of an attractive place for teams to want to work, providers want to work, and it just complements things. So if you were in the weeds all day, every day doing $5 tasks and $10 tasks, that's where burnout happens. That's where people get tired. And sometimes what happens is they'll do $10,000 task and they'll be like, I'm tired. I'm throwing in the towel because they don't necessarily see the fruits of the labor of the $10,000 task. When you add $10,000 on top of $10,000 on top of $10,000, because we have clients right now, especially with the end of the year, who are creating partnerships, who are lining things up for 2025, who are being out in the community, definitely elevating some of their marketing tactics, putting the practice in a place to generate so much revenue because they're doing $10,000 tasks. So I always say that I would rather for you to burn out. I don't want anyone to burn out, but if you're going to burn out, I would rather for you to burn out because you're out making an impact, or you're out hosting, or you're out talking to people, or you're out, getting like generating revenue and drumming up business, compared to I'm burnt out because I have to follow up with all these patients, or I'm burnt out because I've been answering the phone all day, or I'm burnt out because the invoices are sent out and the billing isn't working. Like, that's a different type of burnout compared to I'm burned out because I'm trying to make an impact. Either way, schedule breaks, make sure this is a marathon. It is not a sprint, but there is very much different. It's a different play when you are actually putting yourself in a position to help the practice be more profitable. So if you're interested in knowing more about $10,000 tasks, then you can always come inside a private practice CEO, just encouraging and empowering our clients to definitely do more $10,000 tasks so that way they can have the revenue that they want, make the impact that they want, and they can also have the profit that they want so they can leverage the practice to be able to make more of an impact, have a better, have a better life, be able to take time off, like all those things. And so if that's of interest to you, then private practice CEO is probably good for you too. So I hope that this episode is a quick one, quick and dirty, but I hope it's helpful. And if you have any questions or need any support, let me know. All right. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the episode and it empowers you as the CEO of your practice. If you enjoyed the podcast, please make sure you subscribe, share the message, and leave a review. If you want more information and support in growing and scaling your practice, click the link in the show notes to take advantage of our free resources or apply to work with me directly. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.